The sun on this alien world was not kind. It burned hot and bright in the purple sky, baking the metal streets of the trading colony. Ships flew above, aliens shouted in markets, and workers ran from one place to another. It was a normal day for everyone except for Jira. She stood at the edge of the job line, her baby tied to her back with an old cloth. The infant was quiet, too weak to cry. Jira's skin, soft, pale blue, was covered in dust. Her long hair was tied in a rough knot. Her clothes were old and torn, but still she stood straight. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She only asked for work. Alien employers walked past her. A thick-skinned grok merchant waved her off. "You're slow, you carry a child." Next, a lizard-like Kren soldier sneered. "Single mother, weak and distracted. Get out of the way." Even the insectoid Zikot workers, known for hiring anyone, refused her. One clicked his jaws and said, "You're not worth the risk." Jira felt their eyes judging her, not just for being a mother, not just for being alone, but for daring to hope. On this colony, if you didn't have strength, speed, or connections, you were invisible. And she was all of those things, plus one more. She was desperate. Her baby moved slightly on her back. Jira reached up gently and patted the small form. "Just a little more, little one," she whispered. "We will find something, I promise." She tried again at the next station, then the next. Rejection after rejection. No one asked her name. No one looked into her eyes. No one cared that she had once been a skilled engineer, that she had escaped a war zone, that she had carried her baby across 3 systems to find peace. All they saw was a poor, dirty alien woman with nothing to offer. By midday, her legs were shaking. She had eaten nothing for 2 days. The baby hadn't had real food in 4. And still, she stood. Her pride would not let her fall. That's when a strange sound caught her ear, a thunk of an old Earth vehicle. A dusty, square-shaped cargo truck rolled into the marketplace, standing out among the sleek hovercrafts. The engine coughed and hissed as it stopped near the job boards. From the driver's seat stepped out a tall figure human. He looked rough. His clothes were brown and practical, covered in dirt and grease. A scruffy beard covered his jaw, and his eyes hid behind dark lenses. He walked with a slow, tired pace, like someone who had seen too much and didn't care anymore. Aliens looked at him and then looked away. Humans were rare here, and this one, he seemed different. Not rich, not military. Just some worker with an old truck and quiet eyes. Jiro watched him carefully. The human walked to the job board, checked a few listings, scratched his chin and then turned. He saw her for the first time that day. Someone actually looked at her. Not with hate, not with disgust, but with curiosity. He slowly walked over and stood in front of her. Jera straightened her back, even though her legs trembled. "I'm looking for help," the human said in plain trade language. "You look like you need a job." Jira blinked. Was this a trick? Another insult? She nodded. "Yes, I can work. I learned fast. I was an engineer once." He raised an eyebrow. "Can you carry 10 kilos? Yes. Can you use basic tools? Yes." He paused, then looked at the sleeping baby on her back. "And your kid?" "He doesn't cry much," she answered quickly. "I will not let him slow me down." The human didn't smile, but his face softened just a little. "My name's Eli," he said. "I run a scrapyard on the edge of the colony. It's not pretty. It's hot, hard work. You'll get paid in food and a little credit." Wanted Jera almost couldn't breathe. She opened her mouth to say yes, but no sound came out. Her chest shook. Then, finally, she nodded. "Yes, yes, thank you." Eli jerked his head toward the truck. "Get in the back." Jera climbed in slowly, careful not to wake her child. As the truck rumbled away, she looked back at the market at the aliens who never gave her a chance. She didn't know who this human was. She didn't know if this job would last, but for the first time in weeks, she felt something warm inside. It wasn't food. It wasn't money. It was hope, and that was more than anyone had given her in a long, long time. The human scrapyard was not part of the main colony. Jera sat in the back of Eli's old Earth truck, holding on to a loose rope with one hand while keeping her baby close with the other. The ride was bumpy. Dust blew in from every side. Around them were broken buildings, half-crashed ships, rusted metal towers, and silence. Eli drove without speaking much. He only gave short answers when Jera asked something. His eyes remained focused on the path, and his hands stayed tight on the wheel. Finally, the truck slowed down and passed under a large arch made of ship wings. On a board tied above the gate, it read in shaky paint, "Eli's junk and fix. Don't die here." Jera blinked at the message. Inside, the place looked like a giant graveyard of machines. Ship parts were stacked like mountains. Wires hung from every pole. Droids without heads lay scattered across the ground. A metal tower at the center leaned dangerously, creaking in the wind. "This is it," Eli said, stepping down. "Home sweet home." Jera didn't laugh. She didn't judge. This place may look broken, but for her, it was everything. It was work. It was food. It was survival. Eli led her to a small shed behind a pile of scrap. "You'll sleep here. Lock the door at night. Got it?" Jera nodded. "There's a heat lamp inside. One bed, one mat. You and your kid figure it out." She looked around. "It's more than I expected." Eli paused. Nobody else wanted it. That night, Jera sat by the warm lamp while her baby suckled quietly. She gave him a small piece of ration bar Eli had thrown her way. She hadn't eaten herself. Not yet. She watched her child fall asleep, soft breaths rising and falling, and whispered, "We're okay now. We're safe. Just hold on a little longer." The next morning started before the sun. Eli handed her a pair of gloves, a dull scanner, and pointed toward a heap of ship panels. "Sort by metal type. Steel, titanium, and anything glowing bring to me." Jera nodded. She tied her baby to her back and got to work. The job was dirty and hard. Her hands hurt after 1 hour. Her back burned by the second. She hadn't used muscles like this in years, but she didn't stop. She didn't even pause to rest. By midday, Eli brought her a jug of water and said one word, "Break." Jera sat on a bent pipe and sipped slowly. Eli stood nearby, watching her. "You don't complain much," he said. She looked at him. "Should I?" "Most people would." She shrugged. "Most people never had everything taken from them." He said nothing after that. But he didn't walk away either. By the end of the first week, Jera had cleared 3 piles of scrap, repaired 2 sensor panels, and even rewired a drone's broken arm. Eli started giving her better tools. He didn't say why. Other aliens from the colony passed by sometimes. They stared at Jera like she was mad. Why is she working with a human? She was rejected from every crew. What's he thinking? Maybe he likes her, or maybe she's desperate. Jera ignored them. She focused on learning. She noticed small things about Eli. He had an old Earth radio he sometimes listened to at night. He kept a photo of a little girl in his pocket, but never talked about her. He had a scar across his side that he cleaned himself every morning before work. And most of all, he trusted her with things no one else would. One day, he even handed her the key to the drone cabinet. "Why?" she asked. "Because you've earned it," he replied. But not everything was peaceful. One evening, Jera returned to her shed and found the door open. Inside, her baby was crying. The heat lamp was broken, and someone had thrown scrap all over the floor. Eli rushed in behind her. His face grew hard. Who did this? Jera picked up her baby, trying to calm him. A message was scratched on the wall. Aliens don't belong here, especially not trash mothers. Her hands shook. Her voice was quiet. They want me gone. Eli's jaw clenched. Yeah, well, they can want a lot of things. You're not going anywhere. She looked at him. Why do you care so much? He stared at her for a long time, then finally said, because I've been where you are. And then he walked away. That night, Jera sat in the cold, holding her baby close. Outside, the scrapyard creaked under the wind. Somewhere far away, another alien laughed. Another whisper spread. But inside her heart, something new had grown. Not just hope. Not just strength, but the quiet understanding that this human, this strange, lonely man might actually be the first person in the galaxy who saw her as more than just a weak mother, and she would not let that chance go to waste. Jera had worked in the scrapyard for 2 full weeks now. She knew the rhythm of the place, how the sun hit the metal piles, where the ground was too soft to step, and how Eli always started his day in silence. He was a man of few words, but his actions spoke loudly. Each time he handed her better tools or saved an extra portion of food for her baby. She understood. He respected her, but something still didn't add up. Eli was no ordinary scrap dealer. He had no assistants, no guards, no cameras. And yet, he kept one corner of the yard always locked and covered apart. He never let her go near. A heavy tarp hung over something big. Wires ran from it to the shed where Eli slept. Every time Jera passed close to it, her skin tingled like static. What was he hiding? One cloudy night, Jera couldn't sleep. Her baby was finally resting, but her mind wasn't. The wind howled outside. She stepped out of her shed quietly and looked around. That tarp-covered section at the far end. It was glowing faintly. Curiosity got the better of her. She walked silently, heart pounding. Each step felt like a risk. What if Eli caught her? What if it was something dangerous? She reached the edge of the tarp and lifted a small corner. What she saw made her gasp. Beneath the cover was a ship, but not just any ship. It was ancient, shaped like a crescent moon, its body dark and smooth like obsidian. Strange symbols glowed along the edges, and an AI core blinked softly in the center. This was not scrap. This was a relic, possibly a warship, or even something more rare, a living machine. You weren't supposed to see that, said a voice behind her. Jera spun around. Eli stood there in the dark, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. I'm sorry, she stammered.
I
didn't touch anything. I was just curious, he finished. He walked past her and pulled the tarp all the way off. The full shape of the ship shimmered under the moonlight. Her name is Whisper. Found her buried under the sands of Velkar 6. Dead, damaged, forgotten. Jera stepped closer, amazed. You've been fixing her. Eli nodded. Trying to. Took me 6 years just to get the power core to blink. I still can't get her to fly. Why not? Because she's not just a ship, he said quietly. She's a hybrid, part machine, part bioorganic. She only responds to specific DNA markers, and she doesn't like me. Jera tilted her head. Then why keep trying? Eli looked at her, and for the first time, his eyes held something raw, something painful. Because this ship isn't just a machine. It's a way out. This colony is dying, Jera. The air is getting thinner. Trade routes are closing. And Soon the scavengers will turn on each other. Whisper could change that. If I get her flying, I could escape. Maybe help others too. Jira looked at the ship again. Her hands itched to touch it, to fix it. She saw burnt panels, broken conduit sinks. She could repair. Things she understood. Can I help? Eli blinked. You want to help fix a ship that might never fly? I worked on fusion cores before the war destroyed my home. I can learn fast. He didn't answer right away, just watched her quietly. Then he handed her a pair of plasma goggles. All right, he said, but we do this my way. No one knows about her, not the colony, not the employers. No one. Jira smiled slightly, understood. The next day, their work changed. By day, Jira still sorted metal and managed the scrapyard. But by night, she and Eli worked in secret. She repaired wires, soldered circuits, and decoded alien symbols. Eli worked on navigation, trying to trick the AI into trusting him. Whisper, however, remained silent. Once, while Jira worked near the ship's side panels, her baby began to cry. The noise echoed through the scrapyard. Jira sighed and reached to calm him, but suddenly, the ship glowed. A soft hum filled the air. Eli dropped his tool. What the hell? Whisper's lights pulsed gently. Then, a voice soft, feminine, and very old spoke in an unknown language. Symbols appeared on the side panels. Jira stepped back in awe. She responded. To your baby, Eli said slowly. Not us. They stared at each other. Your child, he said, might carry a genetic marker. Something the ship recognizes. Jira's eyes widened. But that's impossible. Eli looked at the glowing ship. Not if his father was someone different. Now, the mystery had changed. The secret ship wasn't just a relic. It was alive, and it had responded not to Eli, but to Jira's child. Questions raced through her mind. Who was her child? Really? What blood ran through his veins? Why was this ancient ship waiting for him? She didn't know the answers. But one thing was clear. Her life was no longer about survival. It was part of something bigger now. And the only person standing beside her in this was a human who never asked for anything in return, except trust. Jira had never felt truly safe, not even after Eli gave her shelter, food, and work. But after discovering that the ancient alien ship, Whisper, had reacted to her baby, her world became even more fragile. Eli had questions. Jira had questions. But there were no answers. Not yet. All she knew was this. Her child was special. The ship had responded to him, not her. And that changed everything. Eli had started calling the baby Little Star. It made Jira smile, but it also made her nervous. If Whisper had recognized something in her baby's DNA, someone else might recognize it too. And someone did. It started with a shadow that morning. The wind was dry, and the sun was hidden behind gray clouds. Yara was sorting scrap near the gate when she noticed 3 figures watching from outside, dressed in heavy cloaks, hoods hiding their faces. They stood too still. Eli stepped out with his usual calm. He wiped his hands and said, "Can I help you?" One of the cloaked aliens stepped forward. He spoke in trade language, slow and cold. "We heard you took an stray female with a child." Jira froze. "She works here," Eli replied, keeping his voice steady. "Problem." The second figure leaned closer. "We're here for the child." Jira rushed forward, standing between them. "He's mine." "He doesn't belong to you," the first one said. "You stole him? You're hiding blood that isn't yours." Jira's heart slammed in her chest. "I gave birth to him." "You have no right." The third figure pulled something from his belt, a stun rod. That's when Eli moved. He didn't shout he didn't warn. He grabbed a metal bar from the wall and slammed it into the ground so hard it cracked the stone. "She's under my protection," Eli said, his voice now low and dangerous. "You want to touch her, or the baby you'll have to go through me." The air turned tense. The first alien hissed. "This is colony law. Half-bloods are property if unregistered, then bring law officers," Eli snapped. "But until then, get off my land." They stared at him for a long moment. Then they left. Slowly, but they left. Jera's legs gave out. She fell to her knees, holding her baby tightly, her arms shaking. Eli helped her up gently. "Come on, inside." That night, the scrapyard gates stayed locked. Eli installed extra sensors. Jera barely slept. She sat near the heat lamp, holding her child close. "They'll come back," she whispered. Eli nodded. "Probably." She looked at him. "I don't understand. Do they know? What do they want?" Eli sat on an old crate, staring at the flickering shadows. Some aliens believe that when a hybrid is born, especially one with high-value bloodlines, they belong to their original race. Not to the mother, not to any family, but to the empire. Jera shook her head. "That's not fair." "No," Eli agreed. "It's slavery." She blinked tears from her eyes. "I thought if I came here, if I worked hard, they would leave me alone." Eli's voice softened. "They're not everyone, Jera. You matter." And he nodded toward the baby. "He matters even more." She reached out and gently took Eli's hand. "You didn't have to protect us. Why do you?" Eli hesitated, then said something she didn't expect. "I had a daughter, a long time ago. She was small like yours, curious, kind." "What happened to her?" Sarah whispered. "She died in a border attack. No one helped her, not even me. I was too far away, too late." Jera's eyes filled with quiet understanding, and for the first time, they sat in silence, not as strangers, but as two people with broken pasts, holding on to a shared future. The next day, Jera didn't ask for rest. She went straight to whisper. She placed her baby near the glowing core and whispered, "I don't know what you are, or what you want from him, but if you're truly alive, then help us. Help me protect him." The ship's lights pulsed faintly warmer than before. Eli came beside her. "We need to get her fully working. If they come back, we leave." Jera nodded. "Let's fix her." Together, they began repairing the systems. Jera crawled through ducts, adjusted energy coils, translated old tech. Eli handled the connections and reboot commands. And every now and then, the ship whispered. Soft sounds, lights blinking, gentle hums as if watching, listening, waiting, but the attackers weren't done. That night, Jera awoke to a sound she knew too well, a baby's scream. She sat up in panic and saw her shed door open. She ran outside barefoot, heart thundering, near the gates. Two cloaked figures were trying to escape with her baby in their arms. Nitrogen monoxide. Jera screamed. Eli was already running, weapon in hand. He fired a warning shot. The laser beam hit the wall near the thieves. The figures panicked. One dropped the baby. Jera dived and caught him mid-fall. The other attacker ran into a pile of scrap and triggered a trap Eli had built weeks ago. A steel net dropped, catching him like a rat. Jera clutched her crying child to her chest, her tears mixing with dirt and sweat. She rocked him gently. "You're safe. You're safe." Eli grabbed the trapped alien and held him down. "You tell your masters, you come back here, you don't leave alive." That night, no one slept. But this time, Jera didn't feel powerless. This time, she felt like a mother who had fought back. And beside her, a human who had no blood ties but every reason to protect them like they were his own. Their family wasn't perfect. It was made of broken pieces, but somehow, it was stronger than steel. The days after the attack passed quietly. But the silence was not peace. Jura moved through the scrapyard with sharp eyes now. Every noise made her jump. She kept her baby tied close to her chest with a thick cloth wrap, even while working. Every hour she checked the locks. Every night she pressed her ear to the wind. She had lived with fear before. But this was different. Now they weren't just hunting her. They were hunting her child, and Sarah had no idea why. Eli said very little. He worked harder, slept less, and stayed armed. He added more traps around the yard, motion sensors, tripwires, and signal bombs. But between all the security, he spent more and more time with Whisper, the ancient alien ship that had reacted to the baby. The ship now hummed constantly. Like it was waiting, Eli said. She's changing. Jura replied, so is my child. She was right. Her baby once weak and quiet was now more alert. His skin sometimes glowed faintly in the dark. His eyes followed movement with unnatural focus. One night, while Eli was fixing Whisper's power conduits, the baby reached out hand. A small panel lit up under his touch. No buttons, no wires, just his presence. Eli watched with disbelief. Jera, he's connected to her. Jera held her baby close. But how? Eli slowly said, he's not just part alien. He's something more. Something the ship understands. Something ancient. Jira shook her head. No, he's just my baby, my son. But in her heart, doubt had started to grow. One morning, the baby touched the ship's core and spoke a word not in Jera's language, not in Eli's, but in the language of the ship. The lights blinked. The engine let out a soft, echoing tone. Eli stood back. That was a command. Jira was breathless. He doesn't even speak yet. He's still a baby. Not anymore. That same afternoon, a visitor came. A tall, alien woman, dressed in dark armor, stood at the edge of the yard. Her face was hidden behind a silver mask. She didn't carry a weapon, but her presence was heavy. Eli stepped out first. State your business. The woman's voice was sharp and deep. I am Commander Valera of the Rhinax Blood Court. I come in peace. For now, Jira came up beside Eli, baby in her arms. What do you want? I'm not here to fight, Valera said. I'm here to make you an offer. Eli raised his eyebrows. We're not selling scrap. You have something? Or someone that belongs to the old bloodlines, Valera said. That child is not fully yours. He carries a code that hasn't been seen for generations. Jera's body went cold. Valera continued. I can protect him. Caught. I can take him to the Temple of Gene Flame. They will raise him as he was meant to be, Prince of the Forgotten Stars. Shook her head. He doesn't need to be a prince. He needs to be safe. With me, Valera tilted her head. You cannot protect him forever. More will come. Not just bounty hunters, empires. I don't care. Jera's voice cracked. He is mine. And I won't give him up, not for a temple. Not for power. Not for peace. Eli stepped forward. This conversation's over. You can leave. Or I'll make you leave. Valera didn't move. She just said quietly, when they come, your walls won't stop them. You'll wish you accepted my offer. Then she turned and walked away. That night, Eli sat with Jira near the firelight. She stared into the flames. She's right. I can't protect him forever. Eli was quiet for a moment, then said, no one can protect anything forever. But we can protect him today, and we'll figure out tomorrow together. Jira looked at her son. He slept peacefully, glowing slightly. What if he's meant for something more? She whispered. What if I'm just in the way? Eli looked at her. You carried him through war. fed him when you were starving, worked with broken hands to build a future. You're not in the way you're the reason he even has a future. Jira wiped her eyes. You talk like a father. Eli looked down. Maybe. I'm learning how to be one. They kept working on Whisper. Jira unlocked the ship's inner chamber. Eli repaired the guidance system. And every day, the baby touched more parts of the ship and Whisper responded faster. One night, the ship spoke again, but this time, it used a voice Jira could understand. A calm feminine tone filled the air. Child recognized. Activation. Sequence accepted. Passenger bond confirmed. Ship ready for travel. Jira's breath caught. Eli stood up slowly. She's ready. But outside the yard walls, dark clouds had begun to gather. Literally, black smoke ships hovered high in the sky, unmarked, silent, watching. The storm wasn't just rising, it had arrived. And Jira knew deep in her chest the next time someone came for her child, they wouldn't come asking, they'd come to take. Asterisk night fell like a curtain of warning. The stars were hidden. The winds had gone still. Even the bugs in the scrapyard were silent. Jira stood on the tower roof, clutching her child tightly in her arms, and looked up. They had come. 7 black ships hovered in the sky, silent, without lights, their shapes like knives slicing through the clouds. No colony flags, no ID codes, just death. Below her, Eli loaded his rifle. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. His movements were calm, but his eyes told the truth. This was not a visit. This was a raid. Jira rushed down from the tower. We have to run. Eli looked at her, jaw tight. Where every path is covered, they want the child. They'll burn the whole colony to get him. But we can't fight them. No, Eli said quietly. I will fight them. You'll fly. Jira froze. What? He nodded toward Whisper, the ship that had awakened because of her son. The ancient craft now glowed softly, systems alive and ready. She's responding to your child. That means she'll fly with you. You can escape. I don't know how to fly that thing. I'll buy you time, Eli said firmly. Jira's throat tightened. You'll die. Eli gave a small smile. Not today. I've still got a few tricks. The baby stirred in her arms, sensing the fear. Jira kissed his forehead. Her voice broke. I don't want to leave you. Eli gently touched the child's cheek. You won't be leaving me. You'll be carrying the only reason I have left to live. The first explosion hit the far edge of the scrapyard. Jira jumped. Eli rushed to a control panel and pressed a switch. Hold traps activated. Shock fences, flame jets, sonic screamers. The yard came alive with defense. Then came the second blast. Dash closer. Sierra ran to Whisper and placed the baby in the co-pilot seat, strapping him in. The ship responded instantly. The panel lit up around the child's tiny hands. Jira took the main seat, shaking. Whisper, please, she whispered. Protect him. Protect us both. The ship's AI responded in a soft, glowing voice, initiating. Launch protocols. Defense mode active. Pilot identity. Partial match. Bloodline confirmed. Jira blinked. Bloodline. Before she could ask more, the cum crackled with Eli's voice. They're coming in from the east wall. I'll hold them off. Go, Jira. Go now. Eli stood at the gate, facing 6 fully armed bounty hunters. They wore armor. Carried pulse rifles. One had a flap retrauve, and Eli had an old rifle and a metal bar. He raised his voice. You want her? You want the child? Then step over my dead body. The leader laughed. We plan to. Eli smiled darkly. Good. Saves time. Then the scrapyard exploded into war. Traps went off. Flames burst upward. A junk tower collapsed onto 2 attackers, but the rest kept coming. Eli fought like a machine, swinging, dodging, firing. He was wounded in the arm but didn't stop. Inside the ship, Jira gripped the controls. Whisper. Lifted gently off the ground. Metal groaned. Lights pulsed. Jira shouted into the comm. Eli, please. Come back. We can fly away together. But his voice came through, broken and faint. You have to go if they follow you. There's no escape. Tears blurred Jira's eyes. She screamed in pain but pulled the flight lever. The ship lifted higher. From above, she saw the scrapyard, her new home, and fire. Sparks rained down like stars. And in the middle, Eli stood bleeding, holding a weapon with shaking hands, staring. At the last attacker, a massive alien with red armor stepped forward. Where's the child? Eli laughed through blood. He's already flying above your head. The alien raised his rifle. Eli's last words were quiet. You don't get to win. Then he triggered the overload device on his belt. A brilliant white explosion ripped through the yard, consuming the red-armored enemy and lighting up the sky. Jira cried out from the ship, collapsing to her knees. Her baby whimpered, sensing her heart break. Whisper's voice spoke gently. Sacrifice recorded. Flight path locked. Hostile signals detected. Shall I engage stealth? Gira whispered. Yes. Take us away. The ship vanished into the clouds, silent, unseen, untouchable. Hours passed. Jira didn't speak. She didn't sleep. She just stared at the empty chair beside Hertha. One Eli was supposed to be in. Her baby finally closed his eyes and slept peacefully. Jira reached over and held his tiny hand. You're safe, she whispered. Because of him, the stars outside blinked softly. Far away, the colony burned. But inside the ship, there was warmth, life, and the faint hope of tomorrow. Because one human, broken, quiet, and forgotten, had stood like a wall between evil and the innocent. And though his body was gone, his last stand would echo forever in the stars. The stars stretched endlessly in front of her. Jira sat in the captain's chair of Whisper. The ancient alien ship, now alive and fully awake. Around her, glowing panels pulsed softly. Symbols danced on the walls. The engine hummed like a calm heartbeat. She wasn't a pilot. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't royalty. She was just a single mother, once turned away by every job, mocked by aliens who thought she was too weak, too slow, too burdened. But now, she flew alone in the black ocean of space, with her baby in her arms. And no one to stop her. No one left to tell her she didn't belong. Her baby still small, still innocent, rested in the co-pilot seat. His eyes were wide, looking at the stars outside the window. He made soft noises, pointing at lights. Jira gently smiled and kissed the top of his head. You've seen too much for someone so little, she whispered. But you're safe now. He made sure of that. She didn't say his name. Maliba. She thought of him every second. Every panel, every lever, every bolt of this ship reminded her of him. He had given his blood, his time, his soul to fix Whisper. He didn't want power. He didn't want thanks. He just wanted her and her child to live, and they did. The ship suddenly spoke in that calm, clear voice. Captain, incoming signal. Coordinates unknown. Message encrypted. Jira frowned. Play the message. The panel blinked. A static-filled voice came through. She leaned closer. Then a sound made her heart stop. A laugh. A human laugh. Familiar. Rough. Weak. Jira, if you're hearing this, I guess you made it. Her eyes widened. Eli, the voice continued. I knew you'd fly her. Whisper wouldn't listen to me. but she listened to him. I'm glad. I wanted to say goodbye, but I had a feeling there wouldn't be time. So, I recorded this, just in case. Jira covered her mouth, tears forming. I never had a family again after my daughter passed. I wandered, fixed things, broke things. Lived in the trash like I deserved it. But then you showed up. And that little star on your back, you reminded me what it felt like to care. So thank you for letting me feel human again. His voice cracked a little, then grew quiet. Don't stop flying. Don't let anyone tell you he doesn't belong. And don't ever forget you're stronger than you think. The message ended. Jira sat there frozen, heart shattered and whole at the same time. She whispered to the ship, "Is there a location?" On that signal, affirmative. Planet Zeros, 7. Remote, lush, unclaimed. She wiped her eyes. Take us there. Days passed in space, but Jira never felt alone. Whisper was alive not just as a machine, but as a friend. It responded to her voice, played soft music for the baby, even adjusted gravity when the child crawled too close to a ledge. Jira trained. She learned how to fly, how to read navigation, how to speak to the AI in its full language. Slowly, the girl who was once rejected by everyone became captain by the time they reached 07. She didn't feel like the same woman anymore. 07 was green, peaceful, and untouched by war. Jira landed Whisper near a river surrounded by tall, glowing trees. She built a small shelter using old parts from the ship and solar panels from Eli's pack. She hunted, she cooked, she planted food. Her child laughed freely now. He took his first steps near the river. His first word was mama. And soon. After that, he said something that shocked her. He pointed to the stars and said, "Fly." Jira looked up, eyes full of pride. He wasn't just her baby anymore. He was a child of two worlds, hers and something far older. One day, as she watched him play with glowing butterflies, Jira whispered to the wind, "Eli, we're okay. You didn't die for nothing. You saved 2 lives. And one day, he'll know your name." The trees swayed gently, and for a moment, she felt like Eli was listening. Years passed. Word spread across systems of a mysterious woman flying a forgotten ship of legend. Some said she was a ghost. Others said she was a warrior. Queen. Many said she flew with a glowing child who could command machines with a single touch. No one knew where she came from. No one knew her name. But they called her the Star Mother. The one who rose from junk. The one who escaped fire. The one who now ruled the sky, not with armies, not with weapons, but with love. And every time Jira looked at her son, she remembered the man who gave her that chance. They once called her worthless. Now they feared her name in the stars, because all it took was one human to believe she was something more.